Last week we stayed at Intracoastal Park in Sulphur, Louisiana, and watched the barges go by, ate some delicious Boudin and Cracklins, and saw some gators. It was a great week and a beautiful place to bring in the new year. This week we are heading to our next destination, Lafayette, Louisiana. We hit the road early because there was a storm coming with a lot of high winds predicted. We made it to our next destination, Parkside RV Park in Broussard, Louisiana, and got all set up before hunkering down for the winter storm. This was a nice and quiet RV park with level sites and full hookups. It also offered bathrooms and showers as well as laundry. The RV park had easy access to the large sports complex next door, and we walked the dogs on the walking trails that winded through the complex. Broussard is a short drive from St. Martinville and Breaux Bridge, two small towns with a lot of character. Since the cold front brought wind and low temperatures, we didn't want to spend too much time outside, so instead we went for a drive through these two towns. St. Martinville is home to the Longfellow-Evangeline Historical State Park, which we visited later in the week. And Breaux Bridge was a cute town on the Bayou Teche, known for being the crawfish capital of the world. This was an enjoyable drive on the Bayou Teche scenic byway that showed us some of small town Acadiana, or Cajun Country, in Southern Louisiana. The next day was a little warmer, so we visited the Acadiana Nature Station. We parked near the campground and walked a trail to the nature station. Inside, there was information on the flora and fauna of Acadiana. There were also a few boardwalk trails, such as the Iris Circle and the Fern Circle. This was a cool park that we enjoyed walking through and checking out the trees and plants. On Friday, we drove back to St. Martinville and visited the Longfellow-Evangeline Historical State Park. This park includes a museum, a reproduction Acadian farmstead, and a raised Creole cottage named Maison Olivier. We walked through the Acadian farmstead that sits on the Bayou Teche and shows how a typical single-family Acadian farm would have appeared at the start of the 19th century. After checking out the farmstead, we walked to the Maison Olivier, where we were able to walk through the rooms both upstairs and downstairs. There was also a workshop and a guest cottage outside. This property originally began as an indigo plantation until it was bought in the early 1800s and used to raise cattle and farm cotton and eventually sugarcane. After touring the main house, we walked through the museum, which had a lot of information on the Native Americans in the area, as well as the Acadian and Creole settlers. This was a neat state park packed full of culture and history. After touring the historical state park, we stopped at the Cajun Table in Lafayette for dinner. This place is known for their crawfish, so we had to try some. We ordered 3 pounds of crawfish as well as a fried catfish and shrimp platter. This was our first time cracking crawfish, so we were a little slow, but we got better with time. The crawfish tails were good, the seasoning was delicious, and we even sucked the heads to get some more of that good flavor. This was a cool experience that we knew we had to do while in Louisiana, and we would absolutely do it again. On Saturday morning, we took a half-hour drive down to Avery Island. This island is home to the Tabasco Factory and Museum, as well as the Jungle Gardens, which is a nature drive through the island where you can see all kinds of plants, trees, flowers, and wildlife, as well as some history of the island. The McElhenney family has been making Tabasco on the island for over 5 generations and have welcomed guests onto the island to learn more about the Tabasco manufacturing process, as well as explore the natural beauty of this salt dome island. We bought the fan experience, which gave us a full day access to the Tabasco Museum and the Jungle Gardens. We decided to drive through the Jungle Gardens first since we didn't think it would take very long. Boy, were we wrong. We spent 2 hours slowly driving through the park, stopping to take photos and admire the awe-inspiring nature. There were so many beautiful large live oak trees scattered throughout the gardens, as well as palm and cypress trees. A variety of bamboo was also planted here on the island. There was also a meditation garden complete with a statue of Buddha. We saw a couple of roseate spoonbills on the bayou, which was a first for us. We checked out Bird City, which was a bird sanctuary founded by Edward Avery McElhenney in order to protect endangered snowy egrets who were being hunted for their feathers to be used in ladies' hats. The rookery was empty this time of year, but I'm sure it would be amazing to see the snowy egrets nesting there. Jungle Gardens was a neat experience that was way better than we had expected. After spending 2 hours driving and walking through the Jungle Gardens, we had to leave Avery Island because we had a 12:30 swamp tour booked on Lake Martin. We drove down to Lake Martin and put on our hats and mittens and got ready for a cold boat ride through the swamp with Cajun Country swamp tours. Our guide took us around the lake, through a cypress forest, and down a small channel lined with cypress trees. We saw a snake that was possibly a water moccasin, as well as a gator that dove into the water before we could snap a photo. There were a lot of different kinds of birds, including yellow-rumped warblers, or butterbutts, as well as great egrets and great blue herons. We were even fooled by some decoy ducks in the middle of the lake. This was a great tour through some breathtaking natural swamp, and despite the cold weather, we very much enjoyed this trip. Once we finished up the swamp tour, we headed back to Avery Island to tour the Tabasco Museum and Factory. The self-guided tour includes the museum that showcases the history of the island, the McElhenney family, and the Tabasco brand. It also includes the pepper greenhouse, the barrel warehouse, a salt mine diorama, and a look into the Tabasco factory, where on certain days you can even watch the bottle filling process. You can also check out the country store and the 1868 restaurant, but we did not have time to visit these. It was really neat to learn the history of a family-owned and operated brand that hasn't changed much in over 5 generations. After checking out the Tabasco Museum, we decided to do another quick drive-through of Jungle Gardens because we enjoyed it so much the first time. Overall, Avery Island was a really cool experience that we didn't realize we would love so much, and we would absolutely recommend checking out the Jungle Gardens and Tabasco Museum and Factory for yourself. For dinner, we drove to Scott, just north of Lafayette, and stopped at Billy's Boudin and Cracklin. Here we ordered a half pound of chicken cracklin and a half pound of seasoned pork cracklin to snack on. Both were delicious. We also tried Boudin egg rolls, both regular and pepper jack. Both were awesome. We ordered a few Boudin balls, one regular, one pepper jack, and one crawfish Boudin ball. They were all pretty good. I also tried a crawfish pistolette, which was deep fried here, and it was pretty good too. Billy's also sells frozen and refrigerated raw Boudin, so we picked up a couple packs to cook at home. Overall, we enjoyed our time in the Lafayette area. We endured the cold, wind, and rain, and still managed to get out and enjoy some of Acadiana's best spots. We enjoyed learning about Cajun history and culture, eating crawfish, and admiring the scenic beauty and nature of the area. It's places like this that have made this trip unforgettable. Hope you enjoyed.